became a little frustrated by it, but I had a real sense of determination.
From his home in Tallahassee, retired Jacksonville Police Chief Charles Scriven remembers hearing about the bloody attack launched by a group of white people on a handful of black youth staging a sit-in at a whites-only lunch counter in downtown Jacksonville. The white mob chasing the youths down and beating them in the middle of the street. Then Sergeant Scriven was off from work that day, but explains that most black officers who were on duty weren't able to help protect and serve those young people who were protesting outside the black officers' beat.
We were physically restricted to the business and entertainment center of Jacksonville, which included Ashley, Davis, and Broad Street, and you did not go outside of that area. I was in sympathy with what they were doing, but at the same time, I was restricted in terms of my physical boundaries, and all I could do really was stand on the outside and look in.
In this mural created 2 years ago on Jacksonville's east side, images from what came to be known as Axe Handle Saturday are permanently memorialized, reminding an entire city of that dark day.
A big misunderstanding some kind of way. That's how I process it. Somebody's not getting along, and I didn't know what the reasons were.
News for Jack's crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson was only 3 years old back then, but he says what he witnessed that day was forever seared in his memory.
It's an image that I don't care to replay in my mind, in my head, but the image that is always there is these young white men walking with axe handles in their hands, going to wreak havoc with those axe handles.
Would you say that that incident in particular had an effect once you became a police officer?
That's a great question. I was hoping you segued into that. That prompted my interest in law enforcement at 3 years old. By the time I was in 5th grade, it was settled. I knew I was going to be a police officer. I knew I wanted to defend those who couldn't defend themselves, those who couldn't speak up and speak for themselves. I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be that liaison, that go-between.
I always would want to get more members of the black community to join the police force. That is one of the answers. And of course, the other one is to have better trained police officers. But this is our community. This is our community. And the more representation you get from that community will make a big difference.
Scriven rose through the police ranks and said he was soon able to offer solutions to the command staff during a time of racial hatred toward blacks. Scriven would retire from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office as the city's first black police chief. Kent, Mary?
Joy, really, it's hard to imagine. I guess we can only imagine the frustration, that mix of fear and anger that George Scriven felt. And for all of us now, it's just mind-boggling to even try to imagine that.
It is, but it's also great to see two different generations coming to the same conclusion, getting involved in your community to help save it.
Yeah, and one of the things that stands out to me is that as we do these stories this week, Joy, the lack of coverage by journalists of what was going on 60 years ago. So maybe far too late, but something that can't be forgotten in Jacksonville's history.
And fortunately, we have this video, this black and white video now that forever we have a reminder of it.